Hi, it's Mystical. Today, we're going to be talking about the Bigfoot sightings that are happening in Ohio and also the asteroid. So, there's been a lot of talk about Bigfoot in Ohio lately. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like every 6 months or so, Bigfoot finds its way into the news. It's almost always Bigfoot, and it's rarely any of the other cryptids like Dogman, it seems. Around 10 encounters were reported in Ohio in only a few days. It's an unusual, rare occurrence for sure, especially as it's around the same time a very rare 7-ton asteroid hit Ohio on March 17th, 2026, shortly before 9 a.m., breaking apart over Medina County, as you can see here. It's only about an hour away from Portage County and nearby Trumbull County, where the clusters of Bigfoot sightings were reported March 6th, continuing for 7 days in different towns. I can only imagine how terrifying that must have been for the Ohio residents with the threats of an attack during these strange and scary times. It's a whole other topic, I know, but it's on a lot of our minds, regardless of what you think about it. It breaks my heart about the innocent girls at the school in Iran. War is nothing to mess with these days. It's not like Call of Duty anymore, it's drones and instant death. I'm just glad it was an asteroid traveling at 40,000 miles per hour over Lake Erie instead. So I found this picture on a Facebook post, and I thought it was eerily similar to the Bigfoot that I saw over 20 years ago in 2002 in Erie, PA, which is just around over 2 hours from this area. The difference is the head isn't as conical, and it just seems a little lighter in color, maybe because its fur is more sparse, and it's not as lanky. I'm not sure where this photo is from, or if it's AI or someone in a costume, but it does sort of represent what I saw. Witnesses described an 8 to 10 foot tall, hairy critter reported in Mantua and Garrettsville. These were sightings reported by both hikers and residents. Trail cams all over the area make people think it's a little sketchy that none of them were able to get any images of the creatures. One witness claims that the Sasquatch knew it was being watched, but it didn't make any noise. That behavior is incredibly similar to my encounter. It definitely knew we were there, me, my sisters, my dog, yet it didn't turn its head to look at us, and it just walked on by. One witness claims to have seen the creature move at impossible speeds, ducking under trees and disappearing into the woods near a local pond. Again, very similar to my encounter in the way it got to the ground and essentially disappeared. Whether it really disappeared or not, I don't know, but they are incredibly good at making themselves invisible. I'm not sure how close the pond was, but that's a similar comment as well, being that it was by water. On March 11th, the Bigfoot Society said they received 8 credible reports, and this is unusual. A witness reported a 7-foot-tall, dark reddish-brown creature that was big, fat, round, and had muscular arms. I do wonder if, one, the asteroid has anything to do with these encounters, and or if more awareness of these creatures have anything to do with the increase of reports as well. It is said, though, that these sightings are reminiscent of the last cluster of reports during the Minerva monster case in 1978. If you haven't heard of it, it's a Bigfoot case that happened in Minerva, Ohio. They dubbed this Bigfoot as the Minerva monster as it essentially terrorized the Caton family, pounding on their windows, throwing rocks at their roof, one of which hit their neighbor in the face. I find it interesting that behind their house was an old strip mine where the kids would play hide and seek. Could it be that this mine was, or once was, Bigfoot's territory that it was trying to protect? I have a very hard time believing that Bigfoot get this aggressive for no reason at all. I find it's either 1, they were threatened directly by a weapon, 2, they are protecting either their family or land or both, or 3, which I find the most terrifying, is that they are trying to scare us away from a truly evil Bigfoot or another cryptid like a Dogman that's in the area. Maybe I can mention, too, is that they have had a previous bad experience with a human. In this case, though, maybe this Bigfoot was really out for blood, whether or not for vengeance or for land or what, but it broke their poor dog's neck. Law enforcement believed them and tried to help, but the cryptid was never located. According to a great article about it on monstersofohio.com, the creature was 7 foot tall, weighing 300 pounds, covered in thick, dark, matted hair that completely obscured the creature's facial features. Wow, I had to pause for a minute there when I read that. I mean, it so closely resembles what I saw that it almost kind of gives me some relief to know that someone else saw a Bigfoot and they also had a hard time seeing its facial features. It almost makes me wonder, could it be the same one or related to the same one I saw? I know it was in the 70s, but you never know. What if it was his father or something? Who knows? This article goes on to talk about sightings of two cougar-like creatures with them, with cat-like yellow eyes that were glowing. Bigfoot stepped in front of the cats as if to protect the family from them, which is kind of strange because this Bigfoot had previously was acting aggressive, so it could have either been a different Bigfoot, which I'm thinking, or you never really know Bigfoot's behavior. We don't know. I mean, could the Bigfoot have felt differently toward these family members? When I read this, it was talking about Bigfoot stepping in front of the cats in front of the kids, essentially. They were teenagers, like 18, so maybe the Bigfoot didn't have as much of an issue with them. You never really know what these Bigfoot feel about different people. It may have not liked the neighbor for some reason. Maybe the neighbor reminded him of something. So it's really hard to know. They're very complex creatures with behavior that you can't really predict. So, but again, I mean, it mentions this, that it was stepped in front of these cats as if to protect the family. And it mentions that the family believes that these cats could have been smaller versions of themselves going about on all fours, which once again, I'm brought back to my encounter, to my sister's comment that I remember her saying. She was pointing to it and she said, it's a dog going crazy, chasing its tail. So somehow this creature had went from dog to human. So I think there is a good possibility that Bigfoot is one of the few species that I know of that have the ability to walk bipedally just as well, if not better, as they can walk on all fours like a cat or a dog. It may have to do with their unusually long arms, as can be seen by Patty in the Patterson-Gimlin film, which I believe to be credible. This Minerva case has elements to it that draw me back to my theory that Bigfoot are time travelers. They can and do travel dimensions or go through portals of some kind, and just sort of spawn or pop up, if you will, in areas that were once their home, or once familiar to them. And when they see what they've become, they get upset, and that's why they seemingly pop up out of nowhere, because they do have the ability. So, starting March 6th, a resident from Mantua Center reported a 9-foot-tall Bigfoot. The next day, another reported a Bigfoot in the same area. 3 more sightings were reported 3 days later, all in Garrettsville, on the Headwaters Trail, near Hankey Road, and in Wyndham. A witness from another sighting in Wyndham on March 9th described it as having an impossibly long stride as it bounded away. They quoted, "I know what I saw, but I don't know what I saw." The Greenway Highway theory has been talked about in regards to this. The theory suggests that Bigfoot use established green belts and rural highway tree lines as travel routes that lead to sightings when people run into them during their travel times. Could it be that they are migrating back up north for the upcoming summer? I find this theory so interesting, especially since my encounter was not far from the highway. You could probably get to the highway from where my encounter happened in maybe even under 10 minutes by bike. I'm still unsure to this day if the woods I grew up in is technically considered a green belt or not, but I do think it is. And it's not only one highway, but multiple from different directions. Bigfoot are known to be social creatures, migrating and traveling with families and tribe members. It would only make sense the likelihood of seeing them would be higher for this reason. They say when you see one, there's usually another nearby. According to the Travel Channel, Ohio is ranked as one of the best states for Bigfoot sightings. The top state is Washington State, with more than 2,000 reported sightings. California is next, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Ohio, and then Texas. To this day, no video or recorded evidence is available for any of these recent Ohio encounters, which again is puzzling for some since everything is videotaped these days, from Ring cameras to trail cams. It may seem strange why there never seems to be any photo evidence or video evidence, but I think it comes down to a lot of reasons versus it being more of a supernatural ability, which some may believe. So here's my theories that I thought I would share. Number one, they're so agile, fast, and elusive. Mix that in with what I believe to be a human form of intelligence. They do, at least I believe, understand what cameras are, or at least have more of a concept of them, unlike other animals. I think they are particularly aware of them, and they can even be able to sense the frequency maybe, or like waves, that might emit from these things, because they are so sensitive and they're highly attuned and in a way psychic, as they are known to have telepathic abilities. They can't always outsmart them though. I plan to make a playlist on this channel of sightings I 100% believe are the real deal. And these videos were shot before when AI is what it is today. My number 2 reason is people typically don't have the frame of mind to take a photo, and by the time they realize what they're seeing is a Bigfoot, the Bigfoot's long gone. In some cases, cameras act up, or the person is too afraid to take the photo. It's a rare occurrence when footage like the Patterson-Gimlin film comes out. I wonder to this day what would have happened if I got my dad to take a photo of my encounter. Another reason why I believe is a lot of the time video evidence is taken by, well, can you guess who? For some reason, we're not allowed to know they exist right now. I think it's mostly because of money, because, well, money rules our world, and that's what it all boils down to at the end of the day, right? My father always said, follow the money. Again, this is all just my own opinion. I don't know for sure, and I don't claim to know. These are all just the conclusions that I've settled on. Now, do I believe that there's a correlation between the increased Bigfoot sightings in Ohio and the asteroid? I don't know, but I do know that these two are very rare events that happen near the same time, and I think that kind of speaks for itself. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Stay mystical, and see you on the next one.